Hi y'all, if you couldn't attend our first annual membership appreciation event in person, don't worry because we have the recording of the presentation coming up next for you to watch whenever you have time. Whether you are here in person or not, your support is the reason Farm of the Free exists. Please know how much we appreciate everything you've done, do, and continue to do for Farm of the Free. If you are able to, we of course invite you to come visit us and see all the upgrades and additions in person. Without further ado, here is the slideshow. So this is our first annual membership appreciation dinner presentation. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Farm of the Free. This beautiful guy here on the left is Waylon. We have Integrity there in the middle. Pippin is the goat on the right. And we just want to welcome you guys for being a part of the Farm of the Free family. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the sanctuary, where we've been and where we're heading. So I'm going to do a short presentation, do a fun little animal quiz, and then wrap it up from there. Our mission, if you don't know already, is to create a space where every being feels safe to be exactly who they are. This guy on the left here is Cash, and we got Philly, the rooster there, mid-crow, and then we have Theodore down at the bottom. Farm of the Free rescues and cares for industrialized farm animals while educating and bringing awareness to people about living a peaceful vegan lifestyle, emphasizing unconditional self-love and personal growth. So Greg and I met back in 2007. We both had grown up with love for animals. Since we've been together, we've rescued cats, dogs, fish, and even lab rats. We've watched several documentaries on how consuming animal products supports animal cruelty, the destruction of the environment, and health issues. We decided to go vegan back in 2013, and we also stopped wearing anything made from an animal, supporting places that exploit them, and buying products that test on them. However, we still felt compelled to do more, so we made plans. We volunteered at other farm sanctuaries. We started the nonprofit, sold our house in Smyrna, and then bought 10 acres in Good Hope, Georgia to create a sanctuary that is now Farm of the Free Animal Sanctuary. Officially got the property in 2017. We opened the Welcome Center to create a radical haven of acceptance by offering self-care classes and events like this. Self-care classes that we're going to hold might include guided meditations, yoga classes, cooking classes, various support groups like grief support groups, or even addiction support groups, or like family members of those who have addictions. We also raise awareness about living a peaceful vegan lifestyle, emphasizing unconditional self-love and personal growth here. Farm of the Free's beloved residents have come from a variety of different situations, anywhere from rehoming to being rescued from slaughter. For example, Pippin, the goat that you saw at the very beginning of the presentation, he's one of the sanctuary's resident male goats, and he was a byproduct of the dairy industry. So like in the cow dairy industry, few males are used for breeding purposes, and the rest of the males are sold for meat. But Pippin, thankfully, was released to the sanctuary because a friend of the farmer advocated for him. And although there are differences between species like humans, all animals are smart, unique individuals. They have emotional lives and relationships. Regardless of their intelligence, they feel pleasure and pain, and they can suffer both physically and mentally. Given all that, let me ask you a question here. Think to yourself, when we have a choice to be kind to animals or cruel to animals, is the right thing to do to be kind? Pretty interesting, isn't it? Many of us here and throughout the country may disagree on politics. We might disagree on religion or social issues, like why are people obsessing over egg prices? And yet on this one issue, nearly everybody agrees. So that belief is just part of who we are. So for everyone who thought that in your head, that's what you already believed when you woke up this morning. It's what you believed when you came to Farm of the Free today, that when we have the choice to be kind to animals or be cruel to animals, the right thing to do is to be kind to them. To prove my point that farm animals are smart and unique individuals, see if you can guess what species I'm describing here. The mystery animal is as smart as a 2 to 3-year-old human child, recognizes their name and responds when called, has dreams when they sleep at night, and can play simple video games. Think to yourself if you have any guesses. If you said dog, then you're right. But if you said pig, then you're also right. Pigs and dogs are very, very similar and have all the intelligence and emotions you see here. Pigs are as smart as 2 to 3-year-old children. Pigs recognize their name and respond when called. Pigs have dreams when they sleep, and pigs can even play simple video games. All right, I got another one for you. This mystery animal thinks about the future and puts off short-term pleasures if it's better for them down the line. They can count to 10. They teach their children the things they've learned, and they will sometimes lie to each other to get each other's attention. You have any guesses? If you said monkey or chimpanzee or primate, then you'd be right. But if you said chicken, you'd also be right. Chickens are smart and unique individuals. Chickens think about the future. Chickens can count to 10 at a young age. Chickens teach their children what they've learned. And the chickens will sometimes lie about having food to get each other's attention. Like here at the sanctuary, we have roosters who will pretend they found something exciting to feed to their hen flock. And sometimes there's nothing there. So the hens kind of run over and then they're just like, okay. And then pretty much just walk away. Happens quite frequently here. All right, got the last one for you. And it's pretty tough, I think. This animal keeps track of the relationship it has with others who live nearby. They feel pain and get stressed out in tough situations. They will sometimes build comfortable areas to sleep in, and they rub their body against others to feel pleasure and reduce stress. Got any guesses? If you said cat, you're right. But if you said fish, you're also right. Fish, like tuna, salmon, cod, and more, are smart animals that remember one another and have complex social relationships. Fish feel pain and stress just like any other animal. Fish sometimes find comfortable areas to sleep in, and some fish rub gently against one another to de-stress. Greg and I rescued a feeder goldfish back before we started the sanctuary, and he did all of these exact same things. I would have to clean the fish tank, and he would actually come rub up against my hand when I had it in there. Thank you for playing along, and I hope you learned something. Your support has allowed Farm of the Free to play a pivotal part in a larger animal rights movement. Without your support, we could not exist today. On the left there, we have Dave, the darker rooster, and then we have Serenity, who's the lighter hen, and then Raina, her sister, right next to her. Then we have Sammy, who's the lamb right there in the top middle. And then to the right, we have Ahsoka, Clucky, and Dennis's butt. And then underneath, all the way to the left, we have Waylon again, and then we have Pippin, and then we have Theodore. What do you think are some roles that farm sanctuaries play in the advancement of the animal rights movement? Here we have a picture of our beloved Duke. Reason number one, sanctuaries help to counteract the domestication and commodification of non-human animals. Non-human animals have been domesticated and commodified for thousands of years. As a consequence, these residents cannot live their life in the wild, and they must be cared for by humans. Selective breeding of non-human animals for generations has rendered many unable to live wild and free. Due to selective breeding, many are vulnerable to predators and predisposed to health issues. Unfortunately, they are dependent on humans because they cannot care for themselves. As the next best option, the sanctuary creates a space where every being feels safe to be exactly who they are. We also keep them physically safe from predators and modern society. So back to Duke really quick. He actually naturally would have had horns, but when he was a baby, or a kid as they call baby goats, they basically cauterized both of his horns off. His horns are very important to be able to defend from like a pack of coyotes or something like that. Or they also use their horns to thermoregulate their body. They use their horns to scratch bark off of trees, which can help aid in digestion. And also, I think one of the more important things is they use their horns to be able to scratch their own back, which he cannot do in this case. But we keep him safe here at the sanctuary, and knock on wood, he hasn't had to encounter any predators or anything like that. Thanks to you guys. This is Samson. He's about 2.5, 3 years old now, and he is one of our more hilarious residents of the sanctuary. So reason number two, farm sanctuaries serve as a safe haven and recharging station for activists, volunteers, and visitors. One motivation for our work is the faith that this is worthwhile and getting one step closer to a nonviolent world. Sanctuaries provide validation that the work activists and volunteers do is real. It takes it from conception to reality. For example, activists are sometimes subjected to repeated graphic experiences and events. Sanctuaries provide hope, positive experiences, and encouragement. Everyone who advocates for any causes should practice self-care. We see our sanctuary as a recharge station for those seeking a safe haven. This here is Danny Joe. He's the older of the two donkeys who call Farm of the Free home. Reason number three, residents are ambassadors for the trillions trapped and exploited in the animal agriculture industry. Sanctuaries are a form of activism. By virtue of existing and being themselves, the residents educate us about free will, friendships, and their preferences. Although there are differences between species like humans, all animals are smart, unique individuals. They have emotional lives and relationships. They feel pleasure and pain, and they can suffer both physically and mentally. We do not force or obligate them to do any job or anything they do not want to do unless it's for their basic needs. For example, when visitors are here, the residents are not obligated to make an appearance or entertain them. This is what separates us from a petting zoo or a traditional zoo. What have we been up to? Rebuilding things, painting things, cleaning, adding structures to the sanctuary. And we've also rescued some new residents. As you can see in the picture to the right, we have Buddha, who's the dog there. He's the newest dog resident. And then we have Belinda, the chicken in the middle there. And then we have Nellie Jane, who's the little sheep on the right. And then we have Integrity again underneath Buddha the dog. And then we have Philly there right in the middle. And then Freya the pig in the bottom left hand. I believe that's Integrity again. And then Poppy, and then Sammy on the right. Some of the more important things that I'd like to tell you about in this presentation that we've been able to do because of your help. We've been able to plant trees for shade and trees that will grow fruit so the animals can forage for themselves. We've been able to do electrical upgrades so we can heat and cool the residents, as well as it's more safe for the animals. And then we've also done a lot of fencing, which is probably one of the more expensive things. So we're creating a paddock paradise that will be more stimulating and motivating for the larger residents. We have a new stocked medical shed with AC and running water, which means now we can stock medical equipment in there and give urgent care in a safe nearby space. So no more bandaging goats in our kitchen. The new Welcome Center provides a refuge for our volunteers during hot Georgia summers. And we welcomed a new flock of chickens last year, 2 sheep, a pig, and a dog. So our future plans are to begin to have more engaging classes and events. We've already had one yoga event, which was awesome. And we've done other events like, for instance, this event where we celebrated our donors, and we've had volunteer events and things like that. But our plan is to obviously open that up to more self-care classes. And then another really big thing, as I mentioned before, is completing the paddock paradise. This year, our goal is to give back to you for believing in our mission. We are growing and intend to build more relationships with more people and businesses in Atlanta and Athens. The Welcome Center will not only be a refuge for volunteers, but a space that can be reserved for events and classes. So stay tuned for that. This year, we also hope to complete Paddock Paradise. Paddock Paradise is the most extensive section of the pasture at the sanctuary, and it's where the cows, Cash and Waylon, and the donkeys, Danny, Joe, and Theodore live. Pasture grass is pretty high in sugar, and it can cause hoof problems and metabolic issues for the donkeys and cows. Occasionally, the donkeys have to stay in quarantine to recover. So our permanent solution would be the Paddock Paradise, which would transform the pasture terrain. We will do various terrain and enrichments in the Paddock Paradise to improve hoof health and the well-being of the donkeys and cow residents. And so ways that you help the sanctuary: you provide food and nutrition, medical access, safety, and security. And again, we have Waylon there on the left. We got Integrity in the middle and Pippin again on the right. So that's it for me. I just want you to know how much your support inspires me and the entire staff at Farm of the Free. Monthly members like you are paramount to keeping the sanctuary open and the residents get their primary care and medical needs met. So thank you guys so very much. And next year, we plan on having a second annual donor appreciation event, which we hope you'll be able to attend. Thank you so much.